Welcome to my podcast. Make sure you're in the right place. I'm Laura LaMonaco, and this is The Right Act. The Right Act is a podcast that I host and I own. And so I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. Again, my name's Laura LaMonaco, and I'm an actor, screenwriter, and producer. I also do a little bit of editing and cinematography, some videography, and I edit scripts and I own a production company. So I do quite a few things. I say a lot apparently. This is my first episode, so of course, as we go here, things will get a little better with technology and everything. So, who am I? Why am I doing this podcast? Well, how did I get started in acting? Kind of a funny story. I was the kid who, how do I explain this? I was the weird kid. I was the awkward kid. I was the theater kid. Uh, but I grew up in a very small town, and in high school there was no theater, at least for a little bit. I changed that. I didn't get too involved in theater or anything when I was in elementary school. I was doing my own thing. I was mostly writing. But I always had this personality of acting. I just didn't really, I don't know. I was very quiet. I think that's what it was. I was very quiet and very awkward. And I'm not quiet anymore, but I'm still a little awkward. So if you're awkward or quirky or, you think you're not going to be able to get into this industry because people have told you things such as that. I hate to use the word ugly or, not pretty, but in this industry, you'll hear that. And what people don't realize is we're actually the actors that stay around, and I will go into that in the future. But if that's you, stick around. I have so much to tell you, and you're going to be excited. Yeah. So how did I get into acting? Well, I didn't know I had the talent, and I was in Barbizon modeling school, and they were doing a mock commercial, and I got up and did my thing, and that's when I found out that I actually had some acting talent. And as far as is it natural or are you born with it kind of thing, or do you have to learn it? I think it really depends on the person. I think some people have the skill that they can enhance, and I think some people maybe have other talents that they can bring to the acting world and still be just as, if not more talented. So I really think, I think the answer is yes to both questions. As far as me, it seems like I had a natural talent. And I grew up in a very small town. So it's hard for me to look for opportunity. And not to age myself, but when I was in high school, there was no such thing as the internet or the computer or cell phones. So when you're in a small town and you don't have access to that, trying to find an acting opportunity was even harder than if you lived in a city. Luckily, I was able to find out that there was a community theater in my area, right down the street from where I went to high school, and I auditioned. And my first audition got me one of the lead roles, and I have not really stopped since then. I have taken breaks from my acting, but as far as being in the business, one way or another, I have not stopped, and that was in the 90s. I now own a production company based out of New York. Right now, we do mostly films. We're working on shorts, and I have plans for features. It is actually the cat's bedtime, so she's gonna try to get me to go to bed. It's not gonna happen. um, yeah, so the name of the company is Malachi Entertainment. We work on, when I mean work on, basically, I produce short films and features. I'm currently producing a short that my business partner wrote, and then we're gonna hopefully, we haven't decided which other two films we're going to produce. There's two more shorts, and while we're producing those shorts, I am writing a feature film. So when I say I'm in the industry, I am very much in the entertainment industry. I started out acting, and then, like I said, when I was young, I wrote. But yeah, I went from writing as a young kid and then got into acting in high school. And I just knew that that's what I was supposed to do. And that's what I've been doing. So I started in community theater. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, which was a long time ago, they said that what I should do is try to make your own content. This is before TikTok and before Instagram got, I don't even know if Instagram was out yet. It might have been, maybe it just started. Facebook was out, but MySpace was gone. So I don't remember all of the social media that was out back then. So advertising and doing content wasn't as big as it is today. So I started writing again, and I started looking into producing and how things are done. And I was really, really interested in it. And I'm someone that doesn't, it's very, very hard for me to jump in and just do something. I have to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I was told to produce content, I started looking into producing. And then it kind of flipped a lot of different ways. I started writing, and then I found out my formatting was wrong and characters weren't developed and all of this, and a bunch of other things. So I started looking into how to write correctly, how to do the formats and how to develop characters and, the conflict and bringing it up and down, the emotions. I didn't focus on a specific genre, but I do focus on drama and today's issues. However, I do want to get into comedy, but I want to get into comedy for my acting first. So I don't want to go into too much about what else I do, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of my background. I have produced a couple of shorts. They are on my website where you can go and look. It's malachientertainment.com. And on the replay, I will have that typed in for you. Let's see what else. Hey. So acting is something that a lot of people want to do. And there's proof. There's so many people that are actors, whether they're background actors, stage actors, theater actors, live actors, cruise actors, TV and film actors, supporting actors, day play actors. The list goes on and on. So to say you want to be an actor, well, what kind of actor? So there's a lot of questions that I'm hoping I won't be able to answer for you, but I'll be able to provide enough information where you can answer those questions for yourself. Why am I doing this podcast? After all, there's so many podcasts, and I know some of these people who do podcasts. So why another acting podcast, and why is this one different? This podcast that I'm doing is different because I'm not going to start off telling you what you want to know. I'm not going to tell you in the first episode on how to get an audition. I'm not going to tell you what you need for self-tapes. I'm not going to tell you how much money you need. I will tell you how much money you need soon, but I'm not going to tell you that stuff, because until you are 100% sure that you want to act, after you know the fact, that's when we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of the details. But for me, I think saying that you want to act and then not knowing what the industry actually is about and what you have to do, and that you have to have a thick skin and be ready to see the red flags of scammers and be able to see if that person that just messaged you about a movie that they're filming, is it real or is it a red flag? Where are the red flags? Who is this person? How did they get your information? You need to know that stuff. And I didn't when I started out, and a lot of people will tell you that they didn't either. So that's what my podcast is, and that's how it differs. I'm going to start at the very, 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 very beginning. And I know a lot of people are going to be impatient, but we have a saying in this industry, and that saying is that you have to learn to hurry up and wait. Yep, you have to hurry up and wait. And basically what that means is, because you're constantly doing things, you're constantly on the go, to sit and wait. You're waiting for an email, you're waiting for a phone call, you're waiting for a call sheet, you're waiting for directions, you're waiting to go on set, you're waiting for the script, you're constantly waiting. But before you constantly wait, you have to constantly hurry up. You're submitting to that latest thing. You're submitting your headshots. You're running out and getting your headshots. You're running out and figuring out what clothes you're going to do for your headshots. How are you going to get a reel? How are you going to get to your next class? What if your car breaks? There's so many problems. And when people want to get into acting, a lot of times it's for the wrong reason. And what happens is you end up spending a lot of money and getting nowhere. And then sometimes you end up kicking yourself in the butt. And I had nobody to tell me how to get into this and what to look out for. And scammers were all over. And again, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff was not out. We didn't have casting directors coming on Instagram and Facebook giving us tips. There was no such thing as that. We went to classes and we networked with other actors in the same field going for the same thing. So I wanted to provide this opportunity for people who wanted to get into acting. Maybe you're new. Maybe you've thought about and not sure if you should do it. Maybe you've been wanting to do it and you're not sure how to get started. Maybe you've started and you're sitting there going, okay, now what? So I'm going to check to see if I have any questions right now. I don't see anybody here. So let's see. I'm going to try to go live on some Instagram while I'm here. I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe Thursday nights are not the best of nights, or maybe the word just did not get out. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to keep talking as if there are millions of people here. So now that I've spoken about, why I'm doing this podcast and how it's different, I'm going to get into a little more of what you absolutely need to know tonight in episode 1. So I'm just trying to put a device in another area so that I can see if questions come in on that. So let me take another drink of water. Now, I will do my best to have all of my episodes replayed. So if you see this and it's replayed and you wish you came to the live, my plan is to do the live podcast every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. So 8:30 to 9:30. If that's not a good time, if it ends up not being a good time, I will change the day and time and we'll go from there. But for now, it's Thursday at 8:30 to 9:30. You can catch me starting in June on the YouTube channel called Naptime TV, where I and 3 others will host trivia night. All right, we've got some people on TikTok live. Hello, thank you for joining the live. We've started. If you have any questions, just let me know and I will do my best to look in the chat. We are also live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as LinkedIn. And we are live on Riverside at .fm, as well as now on TikTok. So those of you who think you want to be an actor, here's the thing. Why do you want to act? Is it the fame? Is it the money? Is it the craft? Is it a feeling? Those are questions that I really want you to consider. And here's why. When you get into acting, and let me clarify, when I'm talking about acting here on this podcast, most of the time, I will be talking about TV and film. I'm not going to be talking very much about theater because I do not do a lot of theater. Now, as I said earlier, I did do theater. I did community theater, but I do mostly TV and film. That's where my experience is. I am a member of SAG-AFTRA, so that is my knowledge. That is my experience. It is where I've studied. Yes, you have to ask yourself why you want to get into acting. Why is it important to you? For me, like I said, it was kind of like a natural talent, and I basically kind of fell into it. When I was young, I didn't say I wanted to be an actor. I had no idea. I thought I wanted to be a teacher because I was good with kids ever since I was a kid myself. But once I had the opportunity to act, it was like my calling. I was like, wow. And I took some time, and about not much longer, I still to this day remember. I can even tell you exactly where I sat down in my house that I grew up in. And I came home from school and I sat down in the chair and I looked at my mother and I said, well, I have decided that when I'm grown up, I'm going to go to UCLA and I'm studying acting and I'm going to be an actress. I won't tell you the response I got. It was not positive. It was definitely not positive. But I think now my mom sees that. I went for what I was supposed to go for. Even though I haven't been on anything big, especially lately, she still questions it, but I'm still hitting the pavement. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because I have been doing this for a while and I haven't done anything huge, but I've done things. I know about headshots. I get my headshots done. I had reels put together. I have a resume. Again, I'm union, so why am I not getting anything? Well, right now, I'm not going to say it's slow, kind of is, but I don't think it's just so slow that nobody's working. I mean, people are getting cast, shows are still happening, movies are still being cast. It's just not as much is being done, but stuff is being done. So, does anybody have any questions? Please feel free to ask questions. I'm here to answer them for you, unless you just want me to keep talking. That's fine too. You're not going to become rich and famous overnight. So, if you're getting into acting because you figure, oh, I want to do the acting, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be famous, and I don't have to do this 9 to 5, work 40 hours a week thing anymore, it's the wrong reason. And here, I'll tell you why it's the wrong reason. Even if, let's say the best thing happened to you, okay? Let's say that you knew somebody, you got an audition, and they gave you a one line on a movie, and you advertised it. In order for that momentum to keep going, there's a lot of things that you have to already know. And once you are cast, my experience has been, once you are cast, continues. And if you're continuing without the information, then it can, excuse me, it can backfire. Okay. And if it doesn't, great. The other thing is, that person brought you on, you know, how much are you going to get that? And the next break. So, I mean, everybody's life and journey is different. Everybody's acting career is different. Everybody has different challenges. I'm going to mention something because it's bothering me right now. And this is one thing that set me back. And this is another reason I'm doing the podcast, is because I want my followers to know that I'm here for you. And I don't want you to get stuck in the mindset that I have gotten stuck in. Negative mindsets can really, really cost you opportunities, and it cost me opportunities in the past. If you notice, other than my ums and ahs, I was in Toastmasters for a while, so I always talk about that. If you really look at me, and I'm sure at least somebody watching this is gonna notice, but my eyes are different shapes. I have, that's this eye. This eye, the eyelid is lower. When I'm really tired, it's really obvious. I'm glad it's not as obvious tonight. That really hurt my confidence for getting into acting, because what would happen is I would submit and I would get auditions and I would back out. Do not back out of auditions. I will tell you right now, there are so many reasons not to back out of auditions. No matter what you think, do it. I don't even care if you think it's the worst audition, do it. I will get to that in another segment, but I'm just going to give you that tip right now. I want to say hello to all of my TikTokers. Sorry, I'm kind of handling 3 devices right now. So I think I'm definitely going to need a moderator for the future. So let's see, what else? Does anybody have any questions? I don't think so. I don't think anybody has any questions right now. Okay. So I will just keep going and see. I'm just trying to, I have an outline, so I'm just kind of using that outline for my topic. So yeah, things to know about getting into acting. So let's say you've decided you're not doing it for the money, you're not doing it for the fame, and this is something that you have already thought about and you're really serious about it. So, not to be repetitive, but I promise you there is a method to my madness. So there's a reason why I ask you these questions that I really want you to think about. So we're going to assume that you're not into acting for your for the rich or to become famous. So my question to you is, why do you want to get into acting? And how serious are you? Are you getting into it because it's fun and you did community theater and you kind of want to do more community theater? Is it because you did background and you've got friends that are acting and you want to get a speaking role and you want to go from there? Or are you 100% dead set on acting is your career and that is your focus? Most of my episodes, if not all of them, most of them will be on the person who is dead set on having their career be as an actor or an actress. So that's where I'm at. You can get tips from me. I encourage you to watch. Maybe you'll learn something and change your mind. Decide, oh, I do want to do acting. Okay, this is something I'm gonna change. I'm gonna take seriously. And I'm sorry, I keep itching my nose. For some reason, all of a sudden, under my nose has itched. I don't know why. So I've become Rudolph. I apologize. Hello. I want to say hello to those on TikTok. I apologize for looking up. I am on multiple devices. So, I apologize. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will get to them. So as an actor, as a person who wants to take acting serious enough to become their career, the first thing I need to tell you is it's an investment. I'm not going to bullshit you. It's expensive, so do not quit your job. I'm going to repeat that. Do not quit your job to be an actress or an actor right now, okay? It costs money to be an actor. It costs money. It really does. And that's something that you don't really hear on other podcasts. And I think part of it is because it takes, it shies people away from joining. I want people who are interested in this career as much as I was to know this stuff so that you're not spending money on things you don't need to, because there are scammers who purposely seek out actors and models. If you have the word actor or model on your social media, they will find a way to contact you. I'm telling you that right now. So I will go over red flags of being contacted by the scammers versus legit. And I'll even tell you a story of the latest type of scamming that's going on in the industry. But you do need to invest in this career. So you want to know where and how. All right. Acting class. Yes, you have to take acting classes. You have to train. I don't care if somebody said you're a good actor. I don't care if someone said that you can memorize lines. That's great. Those are talents that you could bring to the acting class. Yes, even people making millions of dollars today are being coached. They're taking acting classes. They're going on Zoom with their coaches and their acting teachers and joining acting classes. It's a fact. Sorry. Now, are they in public classes? I can't answer that. I really can't. I've never seen anybody with a high profile in any classes I've taken, but I also haven't taken any classes recently. Back to what else will cost money. You will need headshots. You will need, when you get cast, you will need to travel there. You'll need, if you live on the East Coast, especially if you're in New Jersey, you will need toll money or an easy pass. You will need gas money. You will need snack money. You will want to drink water on your travels. You will want to have your phone with you. You will want to have email capacity. You want to be able to check your emails when you are driving, because even if you are cast on background, you can still get emails about location changes or time changes. You want to bring a charger. I'm getting a little off topic here. Let's see what else costs money. When you are ready to audition, a lot of auditions now are self-tape. When you submit to what's called breakdown, when you submit to breakdowns, and I'll go into that another time, but when you submit, it'll say that they're going to have you do an eco cast audition. That's self-taping. So you don't have to go out and buy expensive equipment to do a self-tape. but you want quality equipment. So if you have an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 5, you might want to look into upgrading that in the future for self-tape auditions. I'm not saying you have to get the iPhone 16, but the 14, the 15 would probably be better for you than an iPhone 6. So yeah, and there's always cost to the places that you will submit. Cost money. Actors Access is $68 for the year or $10 for the month. Stage, let me bring that stuff up. I had it all written, well, not written. I have it all typed up for everyone, so I can bring up that information for you. Yeah. So backstage is $100 the first year and then renews at $200. Or your options are $29.99 for 3 months. Let's see. And then it renews for another 3 months at $75. You can also do monthly for $25. Casting networks to do that annually is $299. To do it monthly is $29. Those are a few places that you can find work. And please, just because I'm telling you that you can find work at these sites and how much it is, do not go there right now, okay? If you are serious about acting, don't. And here's why. This is what I'm seeing and why I'm doing this podcast. People want to act, and so they're told, go get a headshot, get on these sites, and submit. And then they wonder why they can't get anything. Well, you're not getting anything because you didn't prepare for your headshot. A headshot for an actor is not the same thing as a profile picture on LinkedIn. It's not the same thing as a profile picture for social media. Should you have those professional headshots on your social media? Sure, if you have those professional headshots. I'm horrible right now. I need to update my headshots. So right now, I don't have my updated headshots because that's why they're not posted, because I need to update stuff. Instead, I'm doing this podcast and informing you of what not to do. So I really hope everybody's enjoying this, and I hope I hope I'm helping everybody, and I hope I can see questions soon. If you're just tuning in, again, this podcast, this is the first episode. We're going to do live every Thursday night at 8:30 to 9:30 on Eastern Standard Time. All right. What are some other expenses for actors that we don't realize? See, hello, everybody on TikTok. Let's see. So we talked about submitting to breakdown. So people will call them casting calls, and it's so like Actors Access, that's for actors. And what casting is doing is creating the breakdown. So you'll hear a lot of terminology. So that's another thing. Join an acting class. And whether you're doing theater or TV or film or live or cruise, that stuff doesn't matter. An acting class is what you need to do. And an acting class depends on, like, as far as how much it is, depends on where you live, depends on the teacher, depends on what it is, whether it's, 6 weeks with one teacher doing scene study, or if it's, 2 years doing a conservatory versus doing 9 months under one technique. That all costs money. Workshops, and I'll talk about the quotes later, but workshops can be anywhere from as small as $20 to $300. I want you to be careful about the workshops that are over $100. Okay. We'll talk about workshops in another time. The reason that I quote them is there are certain types of workshops that are banned in Los Angeles or in the state of California. However, they are not banned, and I see them popping up here on the East Coast. So that's another reason that I'm doing this podcast, and another way I'm saving you money, because I will tell you what's legit and what's not worth your money. A lot of people are teaching on Zoom now too. Save your money, that can be fun. I took a couple Zoom classes, not Zoom classes, I'm sorry. I took a couple, acting classes on Zoom. It was interesting. You had to have a space. You get up, they have you stretch and everything, and then they talk about their class. And sometimes it's about technique, sometimes it's scene study. It's very interesting. It's definitely a different perspective from what I'm used to. And I'm so sorry, my cats are joining us, and I hope I didn't just lose everybody. Uh-oh, hold on. Okay, good. I did not lose everybody, thank goodness. So, yeah. So acting classes, please take them. There's lots of different types of acting classes. There's lots of different techniques of acting. Here's the other thing that cats came and I think some of them threw it in my eye. Yes, there's a bunch of techniques, but I don't feel that the technique or for you to follow 100% in all of your acting. And here's why. As you study and as you start working with others, working on your craft, working on the acting, you're going to realize that, oh, maybe I can use some method acting here. Or maybe what I learned with Stella Adler is better for this scene. Or Chavosky. And I may have pronounced that wrong, and I'm so sorry. I have a book I'm going to reach over here for. She has a new edition. This is Ivana Chubbuck. Okay, very good. There is a new edition of this book out. I really recommend whether you don't have the money and you get this edition or you go ahead and get that edition. I recommend it. You will learn a lot from this. In fact, I plan on rereading it. That's how much information I got from that. So there's a lot of techniques, and with actors, what I feel that you should do is, hello, everybody on TikTok again. What I feel you should do is, learn what you can, when you can, where you can, and leave out what you don't need. Take with you what you do. Understand that different stories, different movies, different shows, different scenes, different situations may call for different types of techniques. So you having that in your back pocket is good. I think it kind of makes me laugh when people are like, I'm a method actor, so I can do this really well. Okay, let's see. And I'm talking kind of as casting. I'm not officially a casting director, but again, I have a production company and I do cast my own projects. I cast projects for my friends. So I have a knowledge of casting and I have experience of what it's like. Say right now, if you're looking for work right now, please don't hate me, other casting directors or whomever. But if you're looking for work right now and you live in a city, look on job boards and see if casting directors are hiring. Become an assistant, become the receptionist, and when you realize what casting puts in, I'm telling you right now, it will help you with your auditions. It will help you understand how things work and it will help you just understand another side of it. Another thing you can do while you're trying to work on your acting is go work on set. Go be a PA. Go be a coffee runner. Go work on that indie film. Because the better understanding you have of behind the scenes, I think the better understanding you'll have of how everything works and it'll help your acting. At least it did for me. It definitely has helped me learn so much. When I first started casting, I realized why I was having a hard time getting auditions. And I saw what people were submitting. I also noticed people weren't showing up and people were calling at the last minute. So if you remember earlier in this podcast, I said to you, even if you worked your best and you did your audition and you think you shouldn't submit it. There are people that casting has asked to audition and they do not show up. So your audition that you worked on that you still thought was horrible could get you the callback. And that brings me to another topic. When you audition, don't look at the audition as, how do I put this? look at it as something fun. Look at it as an opportunity to meet people in the industry, be friendly, and practice what you're doing. If you book it, great. If not, it's okay. Chances of you booking your first gig on your first audition are so slim. Okay. Um, Again, I apologize for not looking down at TikTok. I really should do that. I have to get like my devices where they're all like lined up so that I don't have to look up and look down and look over. But I mean, this is a fun podcast. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be a fun podcast. I want it to be where people ask questions, and I want you to learn. I want you to learn, and I want you to not waste money. So speaking of money, let's go and talk about scams. If you have actor on your social media and you want to be an actor and you're really getting into it, chances are, if you haven't yet, you will be getting an email or a direct message in your social media about how they love your social media and they checked you out and they want to get you on their next movie. The latest scam is that people are going on IMDb, or I shouldn't say people, scammers are going on IMDb and they're finding out who the well-known names are, whether it's a producer or a casting director, and they are contacting people and saying that they want you on their project. Whether it's, they don't usually say show. Hopefully they never do. It's usually about movies. And the latest one is that they are saying that they're this casting team. And when you look up the name, you'll find, luckily, this has been stopped. So I think it has anyway. I haven't seen any more because the actual casting director and her company found out. We got the word out and they stopped. But this is what happened. They pretended to be her and or part of her team, and they were messaging people and they were saying that they wanted you to act in their movie, but you had to pay your insurance. So that right there is the red flag. You pay your insurance. Actors don't pay insurance. Okay. They don't. You pay for your acting classes, you pay for your photo, your headshots, you pay for your gas money. You don't pay for insurance. You don't pay to be on set. You don't pay for an audition. You don't pay agents. You don't pay management. Yes. Okay. I'm going to repeat that. You do not pay to get an agent or a manager. You do not pay to audition. You do not pay for insurance. Okay. And I'm saying this like this because I really do want you to understand these are what scammers do. This is what they tell you. Okay. So if you get an email or someone slips into your social media DMs and they're asking for money, if they're pretending to be somebody, screenshot. This is what I do. I screenshot it. I report it. I block it. If I realize they're impersonating somebody, I contact them, that person, say, hey, this is what's going on. They're using your name. This is what they're doing. Enough people do it fast enough, like in this past situation, it gets shut down. That's one way we can stop the scammers in the industry. The old scamming way, and they're still doing it, but not as much. But this is how I got involved. And again, remember when I was doing this, when I first started doing Facebook existed. Fine, we had our personal computers and everything, but seeing, casting directors giving tips and advice and acting coaches giving tips and advice and all that stuff that we see on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube, it just didn't exist back then. So when somebody wanted to hire me to be a model on one of their print campaigns, I was so excited. I always kind of wanted to be a model, but I was disheartened when I found out that being a model was not in my best interest because I am nowhere near 5'7" or 5'9". I'm barely 5 feet. So being a model was out of the picture for me. And they got me because they said, we wanted to bring you to the location. You're going to the print model. We have a client that's interested in you. I'm overseas. Another red flag. I'm overseas, but we're going to set you up with a photographer. What we're going to do is we're going to send you a paycheck. Now, remember, this is how the scams originally worked in the industry, at least with me anyway. This was like early 2000s. So it's like over 25 years ago. So it doesn't really happen this way, but just so you know, in case it pops up again. It was very excited. And they said, what we're going to do is we're going to send you a check. We're going to pay you. But what I want you to do is deposit that check and give X amount of dollars to the hair and makeup people. Okay. Well, we all know that actors and models don't pay the hair and makeup people now, do we? No, we don't. Okay. So if you get something like that, again, screenshot in case you have somebody, in case they're impersonating somebody, report a lot. That's how you can shut it down. Okay. That's what happened. I didn't know that. And I got the check. I deposited it. I took some cash out, like they said. They sent me another check. I went to deposit, and I was told it was a fraudulent check. So I went to the bank person and told them I just found out it was a fraudulent check, and that account went negative $5,000. So this is one way I'm hoping to save your butts from spending money that is not necessary. I do not want you to be a victim of scams, and that it happens. I'm telling you right now, they want money and they are finding unique, creative ways to ask for it. Unfortunately, with AI, their English is getting better. Usually you can tell it's a scam because the English in the emails and the social media is very, very bad. Just the facts. Let's see, what time is it? It's 9:23. Do I have any questions now? Is anybody on TikTok or YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, do any of you have any questions? Because it is 9:23. I see I have a couple people on YouTube. Hello. I can't see who you are on my YouTube because of the way it works. But thank you so much for supporting this podcast and listening. But please type in your questions. If you did type in a question and I haven't answered it, it's because I'm not seeing it. Please type it. Let me know if that's what's going on. And I'm going to see, let's see. I'm going to see if I can see those questions here. Okay, I don't know what that is. I don't see any questions there. Okay, so we're going to go back to the TikTok. All right. I am on TikTok. I am getting a lot of invite this person as your guest, invite this person as your guest. I don't do that right now unless I know who you are. We will have guests on this podcast. Absolutely. I have a few people that are lined up, but because I'm starting way back to the do you even want to get into this industry? Those guests are not going to be in the first few episodes. I have somebody that does do theater that asked if they could come on, and I said, absolutely. So we do have that guest. I do know a couple people who may be interested, and I'm not going to say their names because I have not asked them yet, but I have somebody that has worked behind the scenes on TV sets. I have a couple of people who are actors, and I have people who have produced and work behind the scenes. So we will have some very good, interesting, well established, well, no, I'm not going to say well established, but well experienced and educated guests will come on this podcast in the future. So I don't see any questions, and even if, here's the thing, even if you have a question or not sure if you should ask it, because there's other people that are wondering, they might have the same question, but they're afraid to ask. So I'm sorry, I don't do co-host. This is a very specific podcast, very specific live. So any of my co-hosts will be known ahead of time. If you want to co-host with me, you have to send me a message because it's very specific and I need to know that you are in the industry or can provide information with what I'm doing. So yeah, so we talked about scammers. Again, my nose is itching again. Maybe it's that drink that I have in that cup. I don't know. Just drink more water. Water is the best thing. And this is what I'm going to end the show with. Your mindset is the most important thing. And I really wish people told me this. Your mindset, and you have to have self-care when getting in this industry. It's going to go fast and it's going to be exciting, but make sure that you are spending time to take care of yourself. You know, even if you're like me and you don't wear, this is me all natural. I have no makeup on whatsoever. Okay. My nails, I don't have nails done. This is me all natural. When I wear certain colors under certain lighting, my eyes are very blue. Excuse me. Under other colors, my eyes are very dark. And you would think that I have brown eyes. But, meditate, drink lots and lots of water. If you drink alcohol, I'm telling you right now, try to find a way to stop. And here's why. Especially if you're older, but even if you're younger, when you drink alcohol, if you smoke, I don't care what kind of stuff you smoke, but I'm telling you right now, what happens, it might help your mind, it might help your anxiety, but what's happening is it's drying your skin out. You're dehydrated, dehydrating you. Yes, alcohol dehydrates you. Even just one cup will dehydrate you. So if you don't already, make sure you have a skin routine. You want to use toner, you want to use moisturizer, you want to do those weekly or monthly masks. You want to, oh, I don't have mine with me. You want to make sure your lips are always moist when you go out into the sun. If you're a sunbather, I do not encourage that. Yeah, I know you want color. If you go out in the sun, go out in the sun, get natural vitamin D. But I do not encourage laying out and sunbathing because it will bring out pigments in your skin. If you're as white as I am, it will dehydrate you. And it's just not good. Especially as those of us who are no longer 20. And so I'm telling you, 20, 30-year-olds, that if you stop it now, it will help for when you are older. I wish somebody had told me that when I was younger. I will tell you, I was not a big drinker. I'm not really a big drinker now. I was not a big drinker when I was younger. In fact, it's kind of funny. I was kind of the one that was made fun of because I didn't drink. I might have had like a glass of wine here and there, but I mean, I could go 6 months, I could go 2 years without having a drink. And I will tell you, I never put the two and two together until recently, but I will tell you that people used to compliment me on my skin. I have had makeup artists say, "Oh my God, your skin is gorgeous." And I honestly, excuse me, I honestly realized that one of the differences between me and others is I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. And then when I found out those things dehydrate you and ruin your skin, they really do. It causes early wrinkles, it causes blotches, it causes pimples, it causes zits. So it's really important to take care of yourself. So if you've always wanted to meditate and you haven't started, I'm going to leave you on that note. Start meditating. If you always wanted to go for a daily walk, start doing those. If you always wanted to put bath time as part of your self-care and you just haven't done it, now's your excuse. Now are your reasons. Start doing that. Self-care is the most important thing because you have to have a positive mindset. You're going to be you're not going to get the part you want. You're not going to get auditions every day. You're not going to hear from people. And on our next episode, I think we're going to talk about what it means to audition and why I told you to not get your headshots yet. And I think we're going to talk about that. So basically the next show we'll start with mindset, self-care. I'll give you some tips, and then we'll go into how to get into acting now that you're serious. All right. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are listening to the replay, make sure you like and subscribe, and you'll get noticed on when we're live next. Thank you again, and good night.